The journal arrived in the labs at 6 in the morning. Isabella Reyes opened it, and the world she'd built for 5 years fell apart. Her research, her photographs, her conclusions, all published under the name of Dr. Lawrence Webb.
You published my work, my research, without my name.
Isabella, please, sit down. You are being dramatic. Science is collaborative.
Don't pretend this was a collaboration. I have every notebook, every time-stamped file.
You were a graduate student in my lab. University policy is clear. Everything produced here belongs to the principal investigator.
That's not true, and you know it. You stole years of my life.
Careful, Isabella. Burn this bridge, and you'll never work in academia again. No one will hire someone who attacks their own advisor.
She didn't answer. She turned, walked through the long hallway of the biology building, and did not look back.
He thinks he can bury me. He's wrong.
By nightfall, Isabella had withdrawn from the doctoral program. She was on a bus, leaving behind the university, and a career that had been stolen before it could start. The bus let her off at a gravel road. The dairy farm was peeling, sagging, rusted.
Isabella, I saw the university bulletin. They said you withdrew. Are you all right?
I am fine, Uncle Frank. I am more worried about you. How's the farm?
He didn't answer. He led her through the dim farmhouse and down the cellar stairs. The basement air was wet and cold.
Look at this mess. The sump pump failed last year. I can't afford a new one, let alone the mortgage.
Dark, cool, controllable. A perfect space for microbiology. Uncle Frank, what if I turned this into a sterile lab? I could grow lion's mane mushroom, pharmaceutical grade.
Mushrooms? People around here grow them in manure piles. How's that going to pay the mortgage?
Not button mushrooms. Lion's mane. It's medicinal. A single pound of quality extract goes for thousands.
He stared, then nodded slowly. The old dairy farm had just taken its first step toward a second life. At the hardware store, Isabella loaded stainless shelves into the truck. Mark and 2 farmers watched from the porch.
Hey, college girl. Starting a restaurant in that hole you call a basement.
Inside the store, the men laughed and shook their heads.
She's a basement witch, that one. Nobody grows food in a cement tank.
Isabella spent 3 weeks welding frames, sealing concrete, wiring salvaged LED lights. When she finished, the basement glowed with cool blue-purple light. Rows of trays sat ready. Under a homemade sterile hood, she inoculated her first petri dishes with lion's mane culture. 3 days later, green mold bloomed across the plate. The mycelium was dead. Sunday morning, Uncle Frank stood on the church lawn alone. Parishioners whispered and turned away.
I won't go back. I can't bear the talk, Isabella. They're blaming you.
Isabella hiked into the Appalachian woods with a knife and a field guide, searching for an uncontaminated strain.
Right there. A wild lion's mane high on that fallen oak.
She brought the specimen back to the basement. Working under the sterile hood, she transferred healthy mycelium to sterilized grain jars. Within a week, pure white mycelium radiated through the rye, her first clean culture. At the town diner, Mark Haskins held court, a cup of coffee in front of him.
That girl's been in the woods collecting toadstools like some kind of witch. Frank's farm is finished. I give it 2 more months before the bank takes the place. Then maybe she'll go back to university.
Uncle Frank sat on the porch, the evening light fading. He'd heard the talk.
Isabella, maybe you should stop. I can't bear any more shame.
She didn't answer. She went back into the basement, where the first trays were beginning to fruit. 2 full weeks later, the lion's mane clusters were small, scattered. The yield barely 3 ounces per tray. She weighed the dried harvest on the digital scale. 0.19 pounds, far from what she'd need.
This strain is too slow, too little. At this rate, the bank will be here before I am.
She sat at the laptop and logged into a mycology forum, posting her problem and the strain's details. The first reply came within an hour. Wild genetics always disappoint. You are wasting your time. Then another user, Mycoprof, messaged privately. Your strain has unusual compound markers. Get a GC-MS test.
Unusual compounds. Could there be something valuable in this slow-growing strain?
She climbed the stairs to find a final notice from the bank on the kitchen table. Red ink stark on the envelope.
60 days. That's all we have left.
Isabella had a bad feeling when Frank didn't come home by 7. She drove into town to find him.
We've put up with it long enough, Frank. That basement operation stinks up the whole valley's reputation.
She's my niece. She's trying to save this farm. What else do you want from me?
The room fell silent. A few farmers studied their coffee cups.
Then you choose. Either she leaves by the end of the month, or your milk contracts are finished. Every last one.
You'd do that? To me? After 40 years?
Isabella stood outside under the streetlight, just out of sight, and heard every word.
He's sacrificing everything for me. His name, his farm, his last friend.
Frank walked out alone, his head bowed. He didn't see her standing in the shadows.
I won't let this break him. I'll find a way.
The private message echoed in her mind. She contacted an old lab colleague who owed her a favor and had access to a GC-MS instrument.
Please, let there be something. Anything that makes this strain worth saving.
The printout came rolling out. The peak for arenosine, a shot off the chart, 47.2 milligrams per g/gram. Unheard of.
That's not just high. That's 3 times the best published concentration in any known strain.
That night, she uploaded the data to the forum. Chromatogram, concentration levels, culture conditions. The thread exploded. Replies stacked up. Impossible. Send me a sample. Who are you? Among them, a user named MycoProf posted a single line. I've forwarded this data to a pharmaceutical company.
A pharmaceutical company? Could this really be the break we need?
3 days passed. The forum buzz continued. But no actual call came.
You said something might come of those internet people. Any news?
Nothing yet, but the data is irrefutable. Someone will notice.
300 miles away, in the research wing of Novogen Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Sarah Chen was about to notice. She found the forum post late on a Tuesday afternoon. Her team had spent a decade trying to synthesize arenosine A, failing every time.
47.2 milligrams per g/ram from a wild isolate. This isn't possible.
She called her department head immediately. The conversation lasted 2 hours. By morning, an internal decision had been made. They would approach this Isabella Reyes directly. Isabella was in the basement, adjusting humidity sensors, when her phone rang. A number she didn't recognize. She almost let it go to voicemail. But something made her answer.
Am I speaking with Isabella Reyes? My name is Dr. Sarah Chen from Novogen Pharmaceuticals. We've seen your data.
You've seen my data? How do I know this is real?
I'd like to see your operation in person. If your data is genuine, Novogen would be very interested.
You can come. But if this is some trick, I'll know.
A week later, Dr. Chen arrived. Isabella led her into the basement, past the old dairy tanks, into a world of cool blue light.
You built all this from salvaged equipment? Sterile flow hood, precise climate control. This is remarkable.
Dr. Chen picked up a mature lion's mane.
The texture, the density, your cultivation method is as valuable as the strain itself.
They talked for an hour. And then Dr. Chen put down the offer.
$100,000 per dry pound. Exclusive rights. 5-year term. That's our floor offer.
That's more money than the farm has made in a decade. But exclusive means I can never share this strain with anyone else.
She didn't sign. I'll think about it, she said, and Dr. Chen left the contract on the table. 3 days later, Frank collapsed by the fence line. Isabella found him clutching his chest, face gray.
Uncle Frank, don't you dare leave me. Just breathe. The ambulance is coming.
At the county hospital, a weary doctor explained the damage. Blockage was severe. Surgery was urgent.
The bypass alone costs more than the farm makes in a year. And there's no one else to pay it.
She drove home through the dark, walked to the kitchen table, and stared at the contract still lying there.
Every day I wait. Frank gets weaker. I gave up my research for him once. I can give up this.
She signed. Isabella Reyes, in black ink. The contract was done, and so was the night. A rumor reached Mark at the hardware store. A fancy car had been seen at Frank's place.
Heard some company paid her a visit. Probably a scam. Nobody gives that kind of money for fungus.
You signed it, didn't you? For me.
I did, Frank. And I'd do it again. Now you just focus on getting better.
400 miles away, Dr. Lawrence Webb turned the page of a trade magazine and froze. Isabella's face, $100,000 a pound.
So the basement witch actually grew something worthwhile. And now she's worth money. I deserve a cut.
He picked up his desk phone and dialed the number he'd kept from her old file.
Isabella, this is Dr. Webb. I think it's time we discussed a collaboration.
There's nothing to discuss. You stole my work. Don't contact me again.
Then I'll make sure the scientific community knows your breakthrough is derivative of my research. Good luck salvaging your reputation.
An hour later, an email arrived from the university, threatening formal charges of intellectual theft. She printed it. She stood over the kitchen table and tore the page in half. The fight had come to her.
He's trying to destroy me again. I need a lawyer, someone who can prove he's lying.
She found him in a city 2 hours east. Thomas Hartley, a lawyer who'd won academic fraud cases most people called unwinnable.
Dr. Webb published my research under his name. Now, he's threatening to destroy me unless I give him credit.
If you have any documentation that predates his publication, we can stop him cold. Think hard.
A paralegal combed through Isabella's basement files, and from a folder marked fungal isolates, a single certificate slid out. International Fungal Biobank. Sample FB 2022, neg 4371. Deposited the 15th of March 2022. Depositor, Isabella Reyes.
2 years. I registered that strain 2 years before Webb published my work.
Hartley ordered a full genetic comparison. When the results flashed on the monitor, the match was 99.98%.
This predates his paper by 14 months. It's not derivative, it's original. He's the one who stole.
That afternoon, Hartley sealed a letter to the university's academic integrity office, the biobank certificate and genetic analysis enclosed.
Now we wait. But Webb won't go quietly. He'll fight dirty, because that's what he does.
The courier package landed on Webb's desk. When he pulled out the biobank certificate, the color drained from his face.
That sample was my insurance. She kept it. I underestimated her.
Within a day, he hired a top defamation lawyer and began crafting a narrative. Anonymous emails flooded the faculty listserv, alleging fraud and questioning the Novagen deal.
A real professor says she stole his work. I told you she was nothing but trouble.
The academic integrity office opened formal proceedings. Webb's side leaked the news to the press within hours.
They're using the media to poison the jury pool before the case even starts.
If the university says she's a fraud, then that Pharma money is dirty. Frank should be ashamed.
This is too much. They'll ruin you, and I can't protect you.
Don't worry, Uncle. I have proof they can't deny. Let them investigate.
3 weeks later, in a wood-paneled hearing room, 5 professors took their seats. Isabella sat with Hartley to the left. Webb was on the right.
The certificate shows deposit the 15th of March, 2022. Dr. Webb's paper wasn't submitted until 14 months later. The sample was Miss Reyes's, not his.
Webb's attorney argued it was a misunderstanding, but the committee chair leaned forward, unconvinced.
He took my notebooks. I have the raw data printouts dated 6 months before his publication. The biobank registration is dated before any of his drafts.
Hartley projected the genetic comparison on the wall. 2 sequences identical, 99.98%.
This isn't similar science. It's the exact same genetic profile. Dr. Webb didn't just plagiarize words. He stole a living organism and called it his own.
Webb tried to answer, but his explanations unraveled. The committee stopped taking notes and simply watched him.
The sample was a collaborative effort. I may have misattributed the origin, but the core discovery was mine.
The chairperson raised her hand. The committee had heard enough. They would convene privately and issue a written ruling within the week.
They know. They have to know. But I thought I was safe before, and I was wrong.
The days after the hearing were quiet. Then the county paper ran the headline: University Integrity Hearing. Who owns the $100,000 a pound mushroom? The subhead detailed the biobank certificate, the year-old date, the genetic match. For the first time, the full story was public.
I don't know. If she registered that sample 2 years ago, maybe Webb isn't telling the whole story.
The men fell silent. A few set down their coffee cups.
I said some things I shouldn't have. If that certificate is real, then Frank's niece might be right after all.
Later that afternoon, Uncle Frank leaned on his walking stick near the mailbox, the paper in his hand.
Isabella, the paper is calling you a victim. Mark Haskins asked about your health.
I don't care what they call me. I just want the committee to rule.
Frank rested a hand on her shoulder. For the first time in months, he looked hopeful.
Maybe the town will believe the facts, but the university still hasn't spoken.
Late that night, Isabella's phone lit up. Webb again, his voice different, softer, almost pleading.
Isabella, we can settle this. I'll give you co-authorship on my next publication. Just withdraw the complaint.
He's offering me stolen goods to cover up the theft. This call just became evidence.
She pressed record. Say that again, Dr. Webb. Slowly. The next morning, she played the recording for Thomas Hartley. He didn't speak for a full minute.
This is witness tampering, an attempted bribe. It'll bury him regardless of the committee's decision.
Then his office phone rang. Hartley listened, nodded once, and hung up.
That was a source on the committee. They've reached a decision. It's not public yet, but they found in your favor.
They believed me. After 2 years, someone finally believed me.
At the university, Webb locked his office door. He had heard the same leak. On Monday morning, the university's press conference room filled with cameras, notepads, and the weight of 2 years. The provost stepped to the podium. His statement left no room for doubt. The Academic Integrity Committee has revoked publication credit for the paper in question. Dr. Webb's tenure review is suspended immediately, and all related intellectual property rights revert to Miss Reyes.
It's over. He can't touch my work anymore.
Isabella let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Hartley placed a hand on her shoulder. At his home, Webb faced a silent phone and a dark office. The university had cut his lines. Later, outside the building, Isabella stood in the sun. Reporters shouted her name, but she looked toward the road home.
You did it. Not just legally, but historically. This will change how universities handle intellectual property.
I didn't want to change history, Thomas. I just wanted my work back. Now I can go home to Frank and tell him we won.
The news of the ruling spread. National science outlets picked up the story. Isabella read the headline on her tablet in the expanded lab, surrounded by trays of healthy lion's mane.
They're calling it the basement to boardroom story. Frank, we're in the national press.
The first payment from Novogen arrived 2 days later. A wire transfer for the first shipment. The bank called to verify the amount.
$100,000 for mushrooms? I never thought I'd see a check with that many zeros.
Isabella logged onto a travel site and booked a 10-day tropical resort package, the kind of vacation Frank hadn't taken in 40 years.
Uncle Frank, you are going to the beach. You've spent your life on this farm. Now it's time to see the ocean.
At the airport gate, Frank clutched his boarding pass, his face a mix of disbelief and joy. Isabella adjusted the collar of his new jacket.
I don't know what to do with myself, Isabella. I've never been anywhere.
Just sit under a palm tree and breathe. You've earned this.
A photo arrived on her phone. Frank under a palm tree, a coconut in his hand, the turquoise water behind him. He was smiling wider than she'd ever seen. A pickup truck pulled into the gravel drive. Mark Haskins stepped out, 2 other farmers behind him, their caps in their hands.
Isabella, we saw the news. We were wrong about you. All of us were.
It's all right. Come in, I want to show you what we've built.
She led them past the old dairy tanks into the cool blue glow of the basement. The men stopped in the doorway, staring at shelves stacked with flawless white lion's mane.
This isn't a joke. This is a real laboratory. How did you do all this?
Isabella lifted a tray of mature mushrooms from the shelf. The white fruiting bodies glowed under the LEDs.
We called you a witch. We tried to run you out of town. I don't know how to make that right.
You already did. You are here. That's enough for me.
Outside in the sun, Mark shook her hand. Then he smiled, something he hadn't done at that farm in a long time. Within a year, the basement lab tripled in size, new climate-controlled rooms humming with precision. She hired 2 local workers, men who once called her the basement witch. The county paper ran a front-page feature. Reyes named Ag Innovator of the Year. Below the headline, the figure, $100,000 a pound.
This farm proves that science and soil can feed the future. I am just the one who opened the door.
Driving through town, she passed the same diner where Mark had once declared her farm finished. Now, people smiled and waved.
A year ago, they called me a witch. Now they bring their kids to see the mushrooms.
She pulled up to the hardware store. Mark was behind the counter, organizing inventory.
Morning, Isabella. Agar, shipments in back. Need anything else?
Just that. We're running the next batch of spawn this week. Thanks.
She walked to the truck, the evening sun warm on her shoulders. The farm had never felt so alive.
Frank will be home in 2 days. Wait till he sees the new expansion.
Frank's flight landed just after sunrise. Isabella waited at the gate, watching the passengers stream through.
Isabella, you look tired. Have you been working all night again?
Maybe a little. But I wanted to be the first thing you saw. The farm can wait.
They drove back through the countryside. The road familiar, but the fields now green and full. Frank stepped onto the porch, his eyes widening at the new greenhouse extension and the sawdust pile by the barn.
This is, I don't have words. You built all this while I was gone.
It's still yours. I just gave it a little boost. The future, right here.
They sat on the old porch swing as the afternoon melted into evening. Frank took a long breath, the kind he hadn't taken in years.
He's home. The fight is done. We're both home.
The sky turned deep orange, and the farm, for the first time in 40 years, felt like a place that had won. Silence settled over the farmhouse. The lab was quiet. The grow lights dimmed for the night cycle. On the kitchen table, a single lion's mane mushroom sat beside the postcard from paradise. Frank's handwriting, shaky but earnest. Wish you were here. P.S. The ocean is as blue as the lab lights. Isabella had read it a dozen times already. She didn't need to be on a beach. She was exactly where she was supposed to be. The old dairy basement was now a linchpin of pharmaceutical science. The town that once mocked her now bought her spawn bags for their own gardens. The professor who stole her work was an unemployable footnote, and a tired man who had never seen the ocean had sent a postcard from a place he finally deserved. The story didn't end with a courtroom or a check. It ended in a basement, under blue light, where a witch had turned a curse into a cure.